My name's Sam Leamy. Welcome to the Third Touch Soccer Podcast. I'm here with Connor Walsh and Michael McLaughlin. What's going on, boys?
Yo.
A whole lot. Got some Europa League on.
Yeah, Mike's mad at us for watching.
I don't like it when you guys watch soccer.
Why is that?
Because every time it's my turn to talk, you guys look away and then you don't respond to what I'm saying.
Yeah, I did listen to the last podcast and you had some really funny moments and we were just like,
thanks.
yeah.
You guys are like masturbating to soccer, whatever.
Sorry, buddy.
It's all good though.
It's all right. I mean, it is Atalanta versus Lyon, the final game of the Europa League, but
Group stage.
Well, now with Dortmund, they're going to be in the Europa League, right? So they're going to play Arsenal.
It's a nice little Europa League situation we got going on. Some big clubs. Big clubs.
Big clubs. Arsenal's a big club.
Big clubs. Big, medium-sized clubs.
All right, let's rewind it a few days, though. Arsenal versus Manchester United. Big game on this past Saturday at noon. Probably the game of the season so far, Michael. Did you watch the game, or were you too tied up with your cryptos and Bumble?
Well, Bumble, shut up. No, I did watch the game. It was good. It was a good game. What was it? I thought was a Lindegaard goal. That was nice.
Lindegaard. It's Jesse Lingard. He did the Millie Rock, though, didn't he?
He did. He Millie rocked on every block, including the Emirates.
But 3-1 winners, Manchester United coming out on top. Arsenal didn't. Both teams turned up, I thought it was Man United raced out to a 2-0 lead with Arsenal getting one back just after halftime. Looked like Arsenal were just going to onslaught Manchester United, but Manchester...
They did onslaught, just without the goals.
Yeah, without the goals. How many? 33 shots on goal. De Gea masterclass in goal.
Tim Howard against Belgium-esque performance from David De Gea.
You think that's the best goalkeeping display?
One of the best.
Ever in the Premier League.
People are all like, oh, De Gea. I mean, he had some really good saves. He's the best keeper in the world. I think during the course of this podcast, I've claimed 4 different keepers as the best keeper in the world. But De Gea is probably the best keeper in the world.
Ethan Horvath,
yes. But a lot of the saves were either fairly routine to slightly above average. Not a lot of Premier League keepers could have made those saves. It was just the
double save from Lacazette and then Sanchez, how he quickly got up.
He had a few unbelievable saves, but the majority of his saves were very good average saves. Not to take anything away from De Gea, as an Arsenal fan, he was arguably the best player on the pitch on Saturday afternoon.
And then Jesse Lingard getting that decisive third goal when Arsenal were clearly on top. Pogba sent up. The thing is with Pogba, I want to touch on Paul Pogba. I'm not Paul Pogba's hugest fan. I know I've reiterated that point numerous times on the podcast. But he can do things that other players can't do in certain moments. And I think he justified that with that setup when he was pretty much jogging forward, winning that ball against Koscielny, made Koscielny look like an absolute donkey, and then just teed it up precisely for Jesse Lingard to pretty much just have that 2-goal cushion and make things a little bit more comfortable for United. Although I thought Arsenal did deserve a penalty at the end when Welbeck cut back.
Yeah, it was a clear penalty.
Yeah, the rush to get back in the game, how quickly he got up, but that was definitely a clear penalty. But Man United, despite Pogba getting sent off, I thought they saw the game out way more comfortably than I thought it was going to be in the second half. I thought it was going to be pretty much, touching cloth there.
I think with that third goal though, that kind of took the wind out of Arsenal's sails, and I think as the whole stadium more or less went quiet, and me in my living room was as an Arsenal fan, that was one of the most heartbreaking goals that, I was deflated after that because we're down 2-0. You think it's over. Arsenal were on the day probably the better team despite not winning. I mean, losing 3-1, it's hard to say you're the better team on the pitch, but Arsenal, I thought, this game's going to be 4-0 after you're down 2-0 in the first 18 minutes, but Arsenal responded very, very well. They could have scored 4 goals in that first half. Probably should have scored at least 1. Early in the second, Lacazette gets that nice goal with the Ramsey little touchback assist. But I think that, the 10 men situation probably would have been worse for Man U had they not gotten that third goal, which hurt Arsenal, I think, emotionally and mentally.
I mean, I was sitting there when that challenge went in by Paul Pogba, and he went in on Bellerin, and I mean, the more I look at it, I mean, when I saw it a couple of times from an angle, and you see him running, going in for the ball, but if you go studs up like that, I mean, I don't think he thought Bellerin was going to go down like that, but when you show your studs like that, I thought it was a definite red card, even though I was arguing with a couple of fellow United fans around me saying that's no way, because he would have been judged as a weak player if he didn't go in like that. But that's not a natural run. He's going in studs up. He's stretching for the ball. He sees a player in front of him.
He went studs up.
I thought that red card was definitely justified.
And it was. And if you see, one of the angles showed he actually put his second foot in on Bellerin's other leg. It was a pretty, I don't know if nasty is the right word, but it was a calculated challenge that was, I think it was deserving of a red card. Shame for United fans that he will miss the biggest game of the season.
Arguably the biggest game of the season.
On Sunday, the Manchester derby.
You think it's a huge loss for Manchester United losing Paul Pogba for 3 games, Mike? Especially the Manchester derby?
Well, I got to be honest. I watched that game, and but I was doing the thing where I was flipping through channels because I was watching Tiger a lot on the Golf Channel. So I made that mistake.
Do you know I was told that no one gives a shit about Tiger anymore.
Who said that?
Oh, look at his back.
First of all, the excitement I had on Sunday when he started making that run. Oh my God, I go on and on about Tiger, but also too, a girl I was with, she didn't know who Tiger Woods was. She, young, she's like 23 or something. She goes, I work with her. It's not like that, but. She comes up and she sees me watching the TV and she goes, "Oh, who's Tiger Woods? Oh, who's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Tiger Woods." She goes, "Didn't he beat the shit out of his wife?" She didn't know anything about him, but she knew she wasn't supposed to like him. And I'm like, "No, his wife beat him with a golf club." And it's like, "Oh, that's right, because he cheated on her a bunch of times. He's an asshole." I'm like, "All right." So you can't beat that mainstream Tiger narrative, which is probably might be the truth, whatever. But I knew whatever. I was watching Tiger. And I made a mistake later in the day when I ran into an Arsenal fan. I go, "Oh yeah, I saw the game. United kind of dominated, huh?" Because I really just saw the goals and flipped back and forth. And he was like, "No, actually, Arsenal dominated the whole game." And I was like, "All right, guy." But it sounds like Arsenal actually should have got the win.
Yeah, it's not very often your team can be 2-0 down and probably should have won the game. I mean, the amount of chances, it was up until that third goal, it was the wildest soccer match I have ever watched.
It was so open,
It was insane.
Walking into the bar and expecting, I can't wait to watch Man United, close it in and just try and play out a draw, maybe sneak one, when they can. That's the Mourinho style. He's only lost out to Arsene Wenger 2 times in 18 meetings, I heard. Wenger against Mourinho in head-to-head. And
Wenger's never beaten Mourinho.
Never as a manager? Physically or in a game?
I don't think he's ever beaten him.
But to see the game so open, you want to look that up?
Yeah.
Here we go. We got it. References. But to see the game so open, I thought was a great spectacle for the Premier League, and just goes to show United are, serious about this title challenge. Although Man City are, winning week in, week out, and it just sets up this game this Sunday to be the biggest game of the season, if not the title decider. That'll be debatable, but do you think this is a title decider this early in the season between the 2 Manchester clubs?
Well, hasn't the title already been decided?
No, not mathematically, but...
I mean, it's kind of it's City's to lose at this point, right?
Well, United have to go into this game and they pretty much have to win. Would you say so, in order to keep the pressure on?
Real quick, both of Wenger's wins against Mourinho have been in the Community Shield.
2 wins?
Community
2
Shield.
wins, yeah. 2015 and the Community Shield from this past.
And you could see the love between the 2 managers at the end of the game when they shook each other's hands, right?
They're best buds.
Best buds.
Best buds.
But setting up the game for this weekend, 2 Manchester clubs, 8-point difference. It's been that way for a number of months now because City keep on winning. United are on a good run of form, although they're going to be without Paul Pogba this Sunday. They do have players to step in those shoes. Luke Shaw had a good run around during the week in the Champions League.
Bro, we are going to be slammed at the bar on Sunday, real quick. Mm-hmm. We got Merseyside Derby and Manchester Derby on the same day.
But do you think if City win this game, the title is over?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, everyone always... I'm very reactionary, and, it's going to be tough for Man U, who look like the most obvious challenger to the title, to come back. And this is... they're currently 8 points behind right now. If you win, you go 5 points behind, and it's a little bit more reasonable. But 11 points is tough. Even though it is, we're not even halfway through the season yet. I don't see Manchester City dropping 11 points. But Man, you are at home at Old Trafford this weekend. That will certainly help them.
What time is the game?
11:30 a.m. on your local NBC
Eastern
Sports
time.
On a Saturday?
Sunday.
Sunday.
What are you doing this Sunday, Mike? Are you trading or are you...
I'm not sure yet, actually. But I'll be watching the game. I'll definitely watch it.
Cool. So Sunday, Arsenal playing the early game at 7 a.m. Liverpool, Everton, Merseyside Derby at 9:15. And then the Manchester Derby at 11:30.
Should be a fun day.
Who said nobody cares about Tiger Woods?
It doesn't matter.
Dude, I'm sorry. Like, he's... wait, Connor, does your generation, do you get excited?
I do,
Tiger?
but I grew up watching a lot of golf. Like, it was like not an every Sunday thing, but I watched more golf than any other friend of mine. I know that for a fact.
Dude, when he gets the 31 on the back nine, he's 4 shots out of the lead. He's tearing it up. He's driving par fours. He had an eagle putt. He nailed it. I was like, it's Eldrick all
Dude,
in
I was
red.
pumped.
Like,
I watched at least 2 hours of
back,
coverage on Tuesday or on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. So I was like into it. Definitely, I was pumped.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of kids my age feel that way.
How many top tens in majors this year for Mr. Woods?
We see his Masters odds. They went from 125 at the beginning of the week to they're 15-1 now. They're 125-1 now. They're 15-1. It's a sucker's bet, right? But
yeah.
I would say, dude, his swing speed was so fast. His ball speed was so fast. Like, how can you not? He looked great. I don't know. I think it's just my age that he's like the last great guy who's older than me that can still do it. And I'm just like, something is, because I know all these guys like in their 40s are really pumped about it, and we're in our 30s, we're all pumped about it. But I wonder if like kids just don't give a shit because they have like LeBron and Steph.
A lot of kids just didn't watch golf.
Yeah.
Like, my dad is just a big golf fan, enjoys watching it, so I ended up by default watching a lot of golf. So I care.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of other kids my age are not.
Well, they will
kids,
if he's making a run at the Masters, and then they show like the DUI video, and then the cheating and the golf club and his whole life, the Xanax, and it's all this big build. And then who knew that Tiger on Sunday would be making a run on the back nine, making the turn of the Azalea's corner, like it's gonna be pumped, dude. It's like Tiger's back, like, and he looks good. Like he's obviously kicked his painkiller addiction. Like his face doesn't look all puffy and weird, and he seems kind of honest too. He's like seemed actually happy. He's not like a freaking robot. Like, I'm gonna win this week. You're like, are you?
You know what's gonna be a great episode? Which will be a great episode of this podcast when we record Sunday after the Masters, when Tiger blows out a disc in his back on like the 15th hole, and Mike is just devastated and immediately looking for Xanax so he can be one with Tiger.
All right. Okay, back to soccer and the Champions League this week. Like we said a while ago, Borussia Dortmund and Pulisic are going to be going into the Europa League. But England teams, all 4 of the 5 English teams winning the group. Chelsea, the only team that are runners-up in the English group. Are the English teams back in the Champions League? Is this because of the money, the players, or are we looking at, do the Premier League have the best coaches right now? Mourinho, Pep, Conte, they're all kind of in their second season. Jurgen Klopp's in his 3rd season. Does that help a lot with those clubs in the Champions League?
I believe so, yeah. I think that has been a thing that the English clubs were lacking, was top managers that can actually perform at the European stage against maybe teams with players that aren't as talented, but they actually are as talented with European tactics, which is different than the English game.
Well, ever since United fell off, hasn't there been like no? Well, Chelsea made it to the finals a few years ago.
They limped through that Champions League and limped through the final. That was like the biggest miracle.
When the 2012,
it wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
Like they just grinded out games, and it was great to watch, but it still wasn't like they dominated.
I mean,
Champions
you haven't
League.
seen the Champions League dominated by Sam, since we've been friends, probably since we've known each other. I don't think we've seen a year where they'll the quarterfinals has more than two teams.
United 08, 09, and 10 when they won it in 08, got to the final in 2009, 2010 against Barcelona, lost both finals. They looked good going through the qualifying campaign. Chelsea in 2012, but yeah, it was like mid to late 2000s when the English teams did dominate. But it looks like this season, with all these managers in their second season, if not third season, Chelsea helped out them not being in the Champions League last season, winning the Premier League through qualification there, and then United getting into the Champions League through the Europa League. So,
if you look at if you look at La Liga right now, you gotta say Real Madrid's probably not going to be they're not playing as up to par. Tottenham kind of ran them off. And Barcelona looks really good, or they were looking really good, and is PSG really going to be cohesive enough?
Well, I think the PSG result at Bayern Munich, it was a game where they could really kind of set the tone for their intentions this season. They did beat them at home comfortably, and they play Bayern Munich away. And what was the score? 3-0, 3-1?
Yesterday,
during the week. And I thought that was a game for PSG to really go, hey, we're taking this really seriously this year, and we're real Champions League contenders. But if you ask Zinedine Zidane right now if he can win La Liga, he'll probably say no. So their focus is going to be on the Champions League. They're throwing all their eggs in one basket. Yes, they'll...
Oh, it was 3-1 yesterday.
Yeah, they'll still compete in La Liga, but the distance between them and Barcelona is how many points right now in La Liga? It's something like 10 points, I think. And that's a huge mountain to climb, especially in La Liga, with the way Barcelona are going.
Real Madrid are 8 points.
8 points behind.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, 12. No, yeah, 8 points.
8 points behind, with Valencia and Atletico Madrid in between. So Real Madrid are in fourth. So to catch Barcelona is going to take a lot in these final few months. Well,
Isn't it funny how, like, 3 months ago, Barcelona was in an apparent crisis?
Yeah.
And Real Madrid was like a staple of... I mean, they are a staple of success regardless, but they were like, two clubs seemingly headed in two very different directions. And Dembele's back for Barcelona now.
Yeah, so I saw that on his Instagram.
That is big for both club and player.
All right. So, winners of the Champions League groups, no particular order: Man United, PSG, Roma, Barcelona, Liverpool, Man City, Besiktas, and Tottenham Hotspur. The 8 runners-up are Basel, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Juventus, Sevilla, Shakhtar, Porto, and Real Madrid. So Chelsea, the only English team that finished runners-up, they can only either face PSG, Barcelona, or Besiktas, because they can't face any English teams, and they can't face Roma, who they were in the same group as. So Chelsea look like, 66% chance that they're going to either face PSG or Barcelona, which is a very tough draw in the last 16. But for the other 4 English clubs, Real Madrid are in that runners-up spot. Juventus are in that runners-up spot, and Bayern Munich. 3 huge teams. So they're looking to avoid those with Basel, Sevilla. Shakhtar's probably the weakest team.
What English team do you think is on level with Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG?
I think Man City, the only team I confidently say.
They,
although Tottenham Hotspur, have told the rest of Europe that Real Madrid are beatable. They outplayed them, outscored them, outperformed them in both legs, home and away. They can get something from the Bernabeu, and they can, beat them at home. So,
and if you watched yesterday, you see basically a riddled Dortmund team with a coach that's probably going to be fired, and they came back to draw it up when they're down 2 goals.
A Aubameyang brace there in the first half.
So that leads us nicely to Pulisic watch. What is going wrong with Pulisic and Dortmund?
I'll tell you what's going on. Well, Dortmund, It's crazy. I think Pulisic is actually. I kind of see he looks frustrated, really frustrated. He's probably the best player on the team. He looks like the last couple of games he's been forcing it, trying to break, trying to go past 2-3 guys. Yesterday's game, he looked pretty good. Obviously he's when you're over on the wing, you really can't have that much effect on the game. I kind of feel like he wants to be a number 10 maybe, and the team just doesn't have the players around him right now to compete in, definitely against Real Madrid, but to compete, against the Bayerns and the Bayern Leverkusens and the RB Leipzigs and all that. So I actually did not think that there's any chance Pulisic goes anywhere for a year, maybe 2 years. I think there's a good chance that he entertains offers this January.
I saw part of the game yesterday, and I think it was tiresome. I thought he tried to instigate every attacking play for Borussia Dortmund. He was chasing every ball. He was doing everything he could to get something going, even at 2-0 down. He sparked the comeback. And with Aubameyang, obviously the most talented player on the team,
yeah.
But it's either you're going to get a world-class moment from Aubameyang or an absolute donkey play from Aubameyang.
Yeah.
When they were 2-0 down, I don't know what he was doing in the first half, but then he comes out at halftime and then does a world-class chip over Navas,
Yeah, it was offside, though, too, but the pass before. But yeah, there was a world-class shot. Aubameyang's probably he's probably the best player on the team, but, I don't know, that team just looks, it's a frustrating team to actually watch. I've watched almost every game this year, and they need like a Luka Modric type. They need some type of midfield dominant player. And Weigl this year has just not been anything he was compared to last year. And you see with Pulisic, a lot of huffing and puffing when he makes a run. They don't play it to him. Because I think Pulisic thinks he can take his man off the dribble every single time. So he's like, why don't you just give me the ball every time so I can go around this guy and create something? And when they don't give him the ball, he's looking a little annoyed, and then looks like really annoyed with losing. Connor, do you think there's any chance that he leaves in January? I don't really think he will, but that the actual thought is now like percolating in his head, maybe.
I just don't know what his contract situation is, honestly. Like, I don't even know if that's an option because
he signed to 2020. I know that.
All right. Well, I don't know if I've been watching more Dortmund lately.
Yeah.
So I'm just so used to waking up in the morning and flipping to NBC Sports, and now I'm trying to get more in the have to watch Dortmund mentality, I guess. So I haven't watched as much as you have. I have been trying to watch more, and the team doesn't look cohesive. Dortmund's defense is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Pretty bad. I think he's going to leave Dortmund in the near-ish future. I don't know if January's too soon. I don't know, if they're trying to clean house right away. Because I think they'll get a bigger transfer fee for like Aubameyang.
Chelsea's asking about Aubameyang.
A lot of clubs, pretty much any club in the world would want to sign Aubameyang. So I don't know. I don't know if I don't know. I don't think he was going to leave in January though. But I think he would. This summer is probably a better, more realistic option for when he would leave, if he were to leave before his contract ended, which I think he will. But we'll see.
And it's so interesting to see him actually on a team that isn't dominating possession in some games and isn't better man for man. Because that's mostly Dortmund. When you watch them in the German league last year, they're basically better man for man for almost every team they play other than Bayern and maybe, I don't know right now, Schalke or somebody. But they, when they're not right now, like they're not, he looks frustrated and he doesn't look to know what to do. So maybe he's learning something because he doesn't look as dominant. Like you really can't try to take on 3 guys at the halfway line if your team just got the ball back. You know what I mean? And you've been sitting, taking 10 minutes of pressure. You can't go, I'm going to take everybody out right now because I'm the shit. It's like you want to maybe rest up a little bit and relax. I don't know. Maybe this is a good thing in the long run, and maybe Aubameyang does leave, and maybe that Pulisic can go into the middle, and maybe when Royce comes back, I don't know. Who knows? But I just think he looks frustrated, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
It's definitely a frustrating season with the manager coming in, not sure. I think the manager is very surprised that he still has a job.
Yeah.
I think eventually he's going to be let go. I don't know if he's putting the effort in on the training field or preparation for matches, but the results aren't there on the field in the Bundesliga and the Champions League, and they're getting worse. So for Peter Bose to still be there is a huge surprise. But notable mentions to the Europa League teams. Dortmund, as we said, 2 points from a qualifying campaign with the same group as Tottenham, Real Madrid, and Limassol. 2 points. Celtic even accumulated more points there in the Europa League, even though losing to Anderlecht at home. Napoli, Spartak, Moscow, Sporting, Lisbon, Leipzig are on a good run of form in the Bundesliga. Atletico Madrid and CSK Moscow making up the 8 teams that are going to enter the Europa League.
As well as the
Arsenal
clubs that are in there, like Arsenal. No, Zenit St. Petersburg's down there. There's could be some exciting, quarterfinal, semifinal matchups with bigger clubs.
Jack Wilshere was on Twitter this week
ice
skating with his family, and Wenger had some words. What did he have to say?
Said it's not smart to be ice skating. I don't think he would say that if it was any other player other than Jack. My ankles are made of paper mache Wilshere. Yeah, I don't know.
But Arsene Wenger reportedly not happy with Jack Wilshere spending time with his family around Christmas time. Good one, Arsene. But moving on to the biggest game of the domestic American calendar, it is the MLS Cup Final.
Dun 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun. We have a repeat.
Actually, real quick, not to hijack your thing, I think there's something a little bit more important.
Well, I was going to do that. Well, let's do this.
Well, the presidency situation has gotten crazy the last few days.
All right.
Who's the president?
All right. So I know people are tired of real politics, but nothing better than some soccer politics. If you guys have been following,
Sooney out.
Well, he is out. He's announced that he will not be running for president. We've talked about some of the names: Kyle Martino, Eric Winalda. So the big story this week is this Kathy Carter lady.
Abroad?
Yeah.
That's a joke. Yeah, so afraid. I'm not afraid. Actually, hey, let me hear her credentials. Let me judge her.
Well, no, listen. She's not who we want. She is like Sunil's little minion.
Nice to make me sound like an asshole. All right.
No, she's like Sunil's little minion who is just all about the status quo. She's not going to change anything. And she's extremely interwoven with Soccer United Marketing, which is a branch of Major League Soccer that it's a whole business political scheme. It is. I retweeted some stuff on Twitter this week. If you want to go check it out, but I don't know. It's getting interesting, and there's all these.
So I thought Sooney was going to put up the other guy that was going to run for him. The guy's been his right hand man. Wasn't he going to run as well? I forget that guy's name. Brandon? Oh, Landon Donovan? Oh, yeah. Come on, I vote for Donovan.
But so the cat.
I like Martino. I think Martino should get it.
I like Winalda. Because he's all about promotion and relegation.
See, what's going to happen? We're going to split our votes, and this lady's going to waltz in there with Sooney's money.
Well, the situation's been interesting because no other candidate has gotten a major interview, and she announces, and she's been on Fox, she's been on ESPN.
So who makes them?
And it's this whole conspiracy theory that legitimate MLS writers are this is actually low key crazy because no one else is getting an interview, but she has gotten 3 interviews on all these networks in 2 days.
I apologize for my my sexist jokes. I actually don't like the sound of this officially.
Yeah,
I don't like it. Yeah.
It's the status. I don't know. It's kind of sketchy, and I don't know. We'll see what happens.
So who votes for the president? Who casts the votes?
I think it's gonna be the head of all these different, the president of NPSL, that type of stuff. The head of U.S. adult soccer. I don't know if journalists have a vote. It seems I haven't honestly.
We're journalists.
Are we?
Yeah.
Press passes.
But yeah, breaking news. When is that? February.
But yeah, the big news is that Sunil is out. His apparent predecessor, Kathy Carter, it seems kind of sketchy. Do not vote for her. My personal favorite is Uncle Eric Winalda. We'll see. That's my choice. We actually had a question on our Twitter account. Who do we think is the favorite for or who do we think should be the president? And
Tiger Woods.
We'll have more information
Tiger Woods,
as it comes on.
Good.
I need to do a little bit more research on that, but
Me too.
For anything for Eric Ronaldo to get off Fox is a good thing, but
it's crazy how
I think he has a strong personality. I think he would, if he was in that presidential hot seat, he would get things done quickly.
He's campaigning the hardest. Like on his Twitter account, he's like flying to this big youth tournament in like North Carolina, meeting with coaches. Like it's a legitimate campaign. He's got like 2 staffers that are like on their computers on Twitter all day and stuff.
All right, I'll take Ronaldo then.
Some journalists have said that he's probably right now the top candidate, which is cool with me because he is pretty much a supporter of everything. He's against everything that is wrong with U.S. soccer, which is good, and he's aware of it, which was crazy because like 3 months ago I was like, I cannot stand that dude, but it seems like he is a good candidate for the presidency. So we'll see. We'll have maybe next episode we'll do some research and or maybe not.
Touching on youth tournaments, England did beat USA in the U17 Nike tournament.
What a contrast!
When did that happen?
It was this weekend.
Yeah.
What a contrast!
I didn't even know
from
that
last
happened.
year.
Yeah.
When US won, they lost every game.
So this is a new
Lost every
U17.
game.
Yeah, but honestly, like the fact is, and this is probably for every team in the
And
tournament.
did England win it?
Honestly, I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. USA lost to England.
I'm trying
1-0.
I can't even Google this.
They
'cause
lost to
USA are
Netherlands.
out. I can't even. If USA aren't doing well, you can't Google it.
They lost to Netherlands 3-0, and then they played Brazil in the last game on Sunday, and I think that they lost. But the thing is, with the U17 World Cup being this past summer, every team had it was like their B pool or C pool of under 17 year
I
olds.
mean, they got a USA goalkeeper. I saw. in
Yeah,
the
the goal.
highlight.
Apparently, the goalie that played for the
he's
U.S.
really good.
was very, very
Nice.
good. These are still kids that are like in the mix.
16. Yeah.
Yeah, but MLS clubs are playing for some academies. It's just not our actual best under 17 players. Some journalists were saying it's our C team, based on the pool we have. So I wouldn't look too much into it, but unfortunate because that is a fun tournament when the U.S. are playing well. But yeah, so but before I interrupted Sam.
Oh, one quick point. There was a American guy, I think he's like 14, 15, Real Madrid and Barcelona got in some hot water. He joined the Real Madrid Academy illegally. He's now at Ajax. Kid from California, Bryneth or something. He's from California. Some regular at the bar showed me some YouTube clicks. Keep an eye out on him. He was the first American player to ever join the Real Madrid Academy, but of course you can't if you're not a citizen or your parents don't get some type of visa through a work thing. It's a really complicated European system, but the mother got a job in Netherlands and now he's in the Ajax Academy. He's 13, 14, so I'll show some YouTube highlights after that. But yeah,
very exciting.
The domestic
MLS Cup
season is coming to an end. It's a repeat of the 2017 MLS Cup between Toronto and Seattle. Same time of year, same location, most of the same players, a lot of the same players. Yeah. Dempsey, comeback player of the year, is fit. He will be playing. Seattle looked great. Absolute dominating performance when we were doing the podcast last week. Going into this game full of confidence. What is the news on the street, Connor, our MLS expert?
I don't know. You guys excited? I'm excited. It's kind of weird. It's the same final in the same exact location.
Mike likes it,
but it's
though.
a different time of day.
It's
4 o'clock, right?
4 o'clock instead of like 7 or 8.
It was sick last year at nighttime when it was like 20 degrees out. But the
But
weather
it'll be dark though because it's dark by 5 now. So
yeah, no, second half will be dark. But the weather does look pretty shady, which is.
And what's the news on
expected.
Altidore? On his ankle. I just read that it says that he's going to be. I think he's going to be able to play.
Yeah, he's fine. Altidore. So this is a game if you're not in. We talk about the MLS probably more than a lot of you people want us to talk about. But as a casual American fan with Dempsey, Altidore, Bradley, hopefully Jordan Morris, he should be healthy by this game. It would be worth. It's a fun game. It's exciting. Should be a pretty wild atmosphere up in Toronto. Seattle, despite how good Toronto was, in the regular season, they've kind of skidded to the playoffs. Seattle has been the informed team. People have said that Toronto is the best team in league history. What happens if they lose 2 consecutive finals at home. Not a good look for the club, the dynasty. Not really a dynasty, but got to give a lot of credit to Seattle if they do pull out this win. I'm hoping for a Toronto win because I like watching good teams be good, but not that Seattle isn't a good team. They're pretty sick. But what do you guys think?
I don't. I think it's more even than last year. Toronto dominated the final last year. They're on top for a lot of the game. I know the goalkeeper Fry was man of the match. It went to penalties. Altidore slipping over, scoring a penalty, and then Bradley missing a penalty last year. I think it's more even this year, and with Dempsey back, I don't know. You can flip a coin on this one. I really do. Who do I want to win? I'm not too bothered. But question to you, if Toronto do win, would the likes of Altidore and Bradley seek other kind of routes in their careers, or do you think they'll stay at Toronto just because of the money they're making? And
I think that they're in a good spot with a very good team built around them of, good players in their mid to late 20s. It's a really, really good team and a very good supporter.
How about Giovinco?
I think he's happy. Man. He's made the final last year. He's been MVP a couple times. He's in the final again. I think that Toronto, the more pressure's on Toronto. Obviously, Seattle fans want them to win, but I think that Toronto losing 2 finals in front of their supporters.
But how much does this actually mean to the players? I mean, both teams are ecstatic winning their respective conferences. You see Bradley lifting the trophy, looked like the happiest guy in the world last week. And then you go into this one-off game. Like, how much does this actually mean? Does it mean more than winning the conference, or?
Yeah, it's the final. Because the same thing happens in any other American sport. They pop the bottles of champagne in the conference final to win. But no, they get it. The American players and these teams will understand. Everyone understands. Dude, it's the final. It is what it is.
I want Toronto.
Yeah, I want Toronto.
Just to get, at least we get a dominant team. The best, most points ever. They win. That's the best team ever. Boom. Then we can start like an actual league with like dominant teams. Seattle, Toronto. These teams. It's nice to have. You need your Dallas Cowboys and your Patriots, and
exactly. It's good for the league.
Some superstar teams to so there's some organization to the league.
Yeah, because parity's cool, but for fans that are trying to get into it, like you need the good teams. You need to know who like the really good players are, and Toronto has the opportunity to be that club.
But I can see Josie leaving. He's 27. He has one more stop. He could go someplace. I don't know. He could go to Europe. I don't know if he could go down to Orlando or. He's from down there, right? He's from Jersey, but he lived in Florida. Yeah. I don't know. I think he really likes Toronto.
One of the expansion teams. Why wouldn't one of these players be that poster boy for one of these expansion teams like LA or Nashville or whoever? So who's the shortlist for the 2000,
Sacramento, Detroit, Nashville.
2019, right?
Cincinnati.
Well, they met this week at the MLS offices. It was crazy. A bunch of Sacramento supporters flew in, and they had like a little supporter thing outside of the MLS offices in New York. It was like 30 fans, like with flares and singing, and like right in downtown New York. So we'll see other results.
They didn't get arrested, like throwing flares around New York.
Remember when the Patriots fans boycotted or like rioting outside of the NFL offices during Brady's hearing? And they got like, a bunch of guys from Barstool. Like the president of Barstool Sports got arrested. I don't think that happened with the Sacramento fans. But it's pretty cool that they did that. It looks good for the club that they flew over across the country.
Something like we would do, kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, the atmosphere should be electric up in Toronto. Tune into that one this weekend. Hopefully there's a pre-game and you don't have to watch it on YouTube. But shout out to Robbie Rogers, who got married this week. Absolute legend, getting married. Check our Twitter account for more details, and I'll leave it at that. But,
before we wrap up, College Cup is also this weekend.
Congratulations, Robbie Rogers.
College Cup is this weekend. Moving on, Stanford, Akron then North Carolina and Indiana. The semifinals are Friday. The first game is Stanford and Akron at 6. I hate you guys. North Carolina. And
You're the one sent us the picture of what we started. Like, we better. Connor goes, you better congratulate Robbie Rogers on the podcast.
I did not. Literally, that didn't happen. That's slander. That's slander. That's libelous talk.
He's like, "What are you, a bigot? You don't support?" He started yelling at me, and Jesus, so
gosh, never happened.
Actually, I thought Robbie Rogers was really good. I wish he didn't retire.
You got hurt a little bit though. He was getting hurt a lot.
Fast.
Yeah, he's a good player. All right, so College Cup is this weekend. We're down to the Final Four. Stanford versus Akron, Friday night at 6 o'clock on ESPNU. Followed immediately by North Carolina versus Indiana.
Stanford going for their third title in a row?
Third title. Well, this is their third appearance in 4 years in the College Cup, and then this would be their third title in a row. Some good players to look out for if you're tuning in. The final will be Sunday.
What channel is this on? Is this on ESPN3 again, or is it on
ESPNU? It'll be on ESPNU, ESPN3,
Yeah.
the semifinal, and then the final will be on ESPN2 on Sunday afternoon. Just going through these. I'm just name off a couple players to keep your eye out on. Stanford's forward, Foster Langsdorff, Portland Timbers Academy product. Been the Cardinals' top scorer since Jordan Morris had left the program. He had 13 goals and 6 assists this year. Nice little tally. Akron defender Morgan Hackworth. He is the son of USA Under-17 coach John Hackworth. We saw him at the World Cup this year. Akron forward Stuart Holson. He played for New Zealand at the Under-20 World Cup a couple of years ago. He has 12 goals this season. Probably the best player out of anyone is North Carolina midfielder Cameron Lindley, Chicago Fire Academy, U.S. Youth National Team program regular, and he is supposed to go to the MLS after this season. He'll be the best player in college soccer this year. And Indiana, a couple defenders, not even worth talking about. But yeah,
that's this Friday and Sunday. So conclusion to the collegiate program this season. It kind of feels like a kind of a sad time of year with all these domestic.
I know, I love it.
Leagues coming to a close. But we'll do a full review of the MLS in next week's podcast. But I have to shoot off. I gotta go and get a millennial haircut right now, which is half an hour away. I might get a fade. What do you think, Mike? What do you think?
I don't know. What's a fade?
A fade, bro, is...
I know what a fade is like from growing up in the 90s, like a real fade. But what are you talking about? What's this?
It's like the sides are really short, by the ears, and they kind of, they fade.
Oh yeah,
up.
fade. It's the same thing.
Same thing.
But it comes into like you're gonna get it where your actual hair comes up like this, and you're gonna part it one side, like one of those.
I don't know.
Millennial kids.
I gotta talk to the
Uncle
barber,
Tyler.
So we'll see.
Barber extraordinaire.
He's in Cahoes.
You're gonna get a sleeve tattoo to go along with that haircut.
100 million Instagram followers. How many Instagram followers? 12,000. Something like that.
The homie.
I got to shoot off to that. Appointment's in 40 minutes, but everyone can go back to their crypto trading. We are eagerly waiting the Falcon coin exchange.
All right, shut up.
Michael McLaughlin is next to his computer. But thanks guys. Big games this weekend. MLS. We got the Merseyside Manchester derbies and the College Cup Final in Philadelphia. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it.
Later.